I'm so glad you said that, because as you were talking about that, I thought, you know what? This is a great beer to have in the morning.
Yeah.
This is
Belgian waffles with syrup and salty, meaty bacon on the side.
Pints and Pairings is brought to you in part by Word Driving and The Beer Cave. Learn more about our sponsors at hopheadshead.com/pints and pairings. Welcome to Pints and Pairings. I'm Curtis Taylor, also known as Hophead's Ed.
And I'm Jason Hendrick with Everybody's Hungry.
Fantastic show planned. I'm really excited tonight. We're broadcasting live from Barrelhouse 101. We've got a special flight from Groundswell Brewing Company.
And it's a special treat because I feel like this is one of those moments. We've had some big names on. We've had, Jim and Jeffers from Firestone Walker Barrel Works. We've had Jamil Zainashev from Heretic. And that's awesome, right? People say, wow, your show is coming along. But to have a brewery drive up 3.5 to 4 hours for our show.
That was the Google Maps, by the way. It took 5 hours.
A nano brewery that says, hey, I see value in what you guys are doing, and I'm bringing some damn good beers. To me, that was kind of a humbling moment. So welcome, Kevin Rhodes from Groundswell Brewing Company.
Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. But you're doing great work, and this fits right in with what we're trying to do too. Food and beer, it's a great thing, and it should be done well.
And it was, again, Curtis, I met Kevin on a kind of a one-off chance. My in-laws live down in San Diego. I was trying to do a little R&D for the show, touring around San Diego, picking out breweries that weren't necessarily mainstream. I was trying to find breweries that were up and coming or small that we could showcase with a great product. And I stumbled across their website, and right in the core mission statement of Groundswell, it's, we're making beers for food. We want a culinary-focused beer lineup. So I'm like, I gotta check this place out. I want to go and see what they're about. Very gracious. The staff is very, just really service-oriented, very pleasing to be around. And I thought, let's check it out. And thankfully, Kevin, you are on board with coming up.
Thank you for saying that too. I appreciate it.
Well, tell us about why you started Groundswell, the philosophy. Jason alluded to it here just a little bit. Let's give it to you, and just why is this whole beer and food thing so important to you?
Well, I have 25 years in the restaurant business and as a manager, and then the last 9 years I've been teaching in the culinary program at the Art Institute in San Diego. And my expertise became beverage. I teach food and beverage. I teach pairing. I teach wine, beer, spirits, and longtime home brewer. And was brewing with friends. And one thing led to another, and we just kind of started down that road, started talking about it. And we kind of came to the conclusion that our take on beer and our expertise was we know chefs. And chefs deserve really good beer to go with their really good food. And so we said, let's go into it for that reason. Let's go into it to make well-balanced, good-tasting beer that someone can say, hey, taste this with this food item, and it just did a great job. We find a lot of times, and I don't want to ever bag any breweries, we love big hoppy beer. But big hoppy beer often doesn't do the trick with food. And so being from San Diego, we have a lot of big hoppy beer.
Sure.
And so we said, there's room for us doing it the way we want to do it. More sessionable, more friends, more hanging out, having something to eat, and just enjoying yourself, having a couple beers, not worrying about then driving home and doing, a couple 10% beers. So we do 4.8 to 7% predominantly, and it usually does really well with food.
Now, leveraging that culinary background and those chef connections,
yes,
as you've been building up your lineup, because again, I mentioned you're really considered a nano brewery. I mean,
correct.
Give us the size of your brewing capacity.
We're a 3-barrel brew house, 3 barrel fermenters and 1 6-barrel fermenter.
Okay, so we're only looking at 15 barrels of fermentation at a time. That's super small. But as I've been keeping track of you guys on social media, I can see you're growing. When you look at those chef connections, are they providing input to the recipes? Are you really looking to them to give you feedback about what the market is asking for?
We usually will go in and we'll try some beers with them, and we'll try to find what fits for them. We do have an aspect of the brewery we haven't really gone to yet, where we want to actually bring chefs in and help us with recipes, and then give them acknowledgement for bringing on their ingredients and doing a beer with us. That is on the drawing board. Should happen here in the next few months. But most of the time, we just go in and we talk to them about their food, and we try to come up with something that works.
Okay.
That's a great concept. And I mean, true to us, the appreciation between between beer and food, and just how one really, when it's done right, can help the other one go to places that it couldn't be on its own. And it sounds to me like it's not necessarily us as drinkers finding a beer and then finding the food to help these things go to place. That you're working, that at least starting in the next couple months anyway, that you're really looking to have that idea of what these experiences are going to be. So let me back up just a second. A brewer will look at and say, I want a beer that tastes like this.
Right.
And so what do I put together to do this? You're looking at, what do I want this experience to taste like? And so you're working,
Right.
so the
Correct.
chef, you're saying, I want a certain dish that would go in this direction. I want this beer to come, and then where they meet is where that magical point is. Being very cognizant of the directions you're going, not just like, oh, I just found this fantastic pairing. This is something that people are really going to love. No, you are actually
There's some
planning this the
consistency
whole way.
there.
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Now, when we look at the lineup too, Kevin, do you have some core beers that you're always going to have available? Or are you shifting those recipes again, thinking about what that culinary experience could be?
Well, we like the core beers that we have. We have considered pulling the ginger saison out of that, but
How many are in that core lineup?
6.
6, okay.
But I would not pull that out without brewing it still year round, because I think it has a reason to be on all the time.
Okay. So we're going to get into the flight in just a minute, but my mind's still kind of reeling about this concept and marrying the two, because really, like you said, that's the basis for the Pints and Pairings show. But when we look at a lot of breweries, recipe-wise, it's left to the brewer's devices. They say this is the style or the persona that our brewery has taken on. For you, from the inception of Groundswell, the persona was beer and food at some level.
Yes.
Tell us I want to get in a little bit more about your background. You talked about your teaching. You talked about your experience in management. As a home brewer, though, did you have any kind of theme in mind when you were starting to build your home brewing regimen? And did you have any personal flavor and taste that you really gravitated towards?
I, like most people in Southern California, love IPA. I just never felt it went really well with food. So I would brew a lot of IPA for myself, but I still like a good red and a good brown. I like balance in flavor. I mean, this comes from that culinary world where when you take a bite of food, I want more going on in my mouth. I want like fireworks going off. I want to have all kinds of things happening. And a lot of times what I get in beer is one-dimensional.
Sure.
Even as an example, a lot of whiskey or barrel-aged bourbon-style beers, it's like a shot of bourbon.
Yeah.
And to me, that's not what makes the beer. The one that I had recently that just blew my mind was White Oak from the brewery, which, I mean, it's just got this sweet kiss of bourbon in it and all these other beautiful things going on. That's what we wanted to do. So our style was more along those lines.
Where can we find you physically down in San Diego? Where is your brewery located?
We are just east of Qualcomm Stadium, about a mile. We're in a little area called Grantville, which is really part of Mission Gorge. We're right between Benchmark and San Diego Brewing Company. If you drew a line between the two of them and put a spot in the middle, you'd find us.
Excellent. Now, with that physical location, again, obviously you said Qualcomm Stadium, that's where the Chargers play.
Right.
Are people really gravitating towards your philosophy in brewing? Are you seeing a lot of influx of foot traffic and people asking for your style of beer?
We do. We have a great local crowd as well as a great beer-oriented crowd. We're finding a lot of people who like lots of different styles of beer. funny thing that happened to us is we opened up without IPA in San Diego. We did that for 2 months. The worst press or the worst words that were said about us were,
Really?
they have no IPA. What kind of
wow.
brewery is this in San Diego without IPA? And we really tried to make that point, but we ended up making IPA, and we've since have made 3 different IPAs, and they're the best sellers.
But do you feel like,
So we are in San Diego.
and Curtis, I
And
feel
back
like,
in good graces with the local
Yeah.
crowd.
Yes,
I feel
absolutely.
I feel like you've got some opinion on that, Curtis, but I need to ask, do you feel that, although there was some negative feedback initially, do you feel like it built a stronger or more core foundation of followers and regular visitors to the brewery because the IPA wasn't a nuanced draw, or wasn't the trendy thing to do on a West Coast brewery?
I do. I think what we did is we came out saying, this is who we are. We're Stone, I hear them say all the time that, we don't apologize for it. This is who we are, and either you like us or you don't, but we want you to drink craft beer. And we came out kind of with the same philosophy, not as a hard-hitting beer, but more of we believe in all styles of beer, and this is what we're going to do.
It's a beautiful philosophy, and one that, I mean, obviously with an alter ego whose name is Hophead said, and I love my IPAs too, but where would we be, without any of the other styles? I mean, really. And one of the things that from the National Homebrewers Conference, and maybe you saw this coming out, the new BJCP guidelines, which was, there were 2 guidelines, and it was black IPA and then IPA, and so this was, it was a
huge bucket.
It was a tongue-in-cheek kind of thing that seems to be what everyone else is making, and the pendulum will swing back again to more balanced beers, and
Right.
you see that more now with brewers going back to and taking the time to brew lagers and some of these other that would be crisp and clean, but still malt balance or malt forward types of beers, you
Right.
know. And so I think it'll come back, and we certainly appreciate it when it comes time to pairing beers, like you said, sharp foods. I love a good IPA. Spicy foods, I love a good IPA. But so many times we're talking about the coffee flavors, and we're talking
Right.
about the toffee flavors, and we're talking about sweet malt flavors that make the pairing. Or even we didn't even hit on yeast profiles, which Southern California beers are kind of one-sided on yeast. It's crisp and clean.
So, kind of leading down that thought process a little bit, given the size of your capacity and the response you're getting from the community, are you able to keep up with demand right now, or are you looking to other breweries to kind of help fill some of those volumes that you need? How is that playing out in the marketplace for you?
We are. We're actively talking to people about capacity and trying to find capacity. I've come to a philosophy that I am looking for capacity anywhere between where we are now and where we are in San Diego. I do believe that Los Angeles and Orange County and Inland Empire are great markets to enter into right now. And if we can find capacity in any of those markets, I would try to brew up there and then put the beer out in that market, not necessarily bring it back to San Diego. At the same time, I just talked to the gentleman who's going to do our pre-construction on 4,000 square feet behind us in another building, and we're looking at a 20-barrel brew house, maybe 15. It all depends on the money and the financing.
Sure.
But we are definitely looking at capacity to expand.
Well, that makes tonight so much more special too, in the fact that that you brought these beers all the way up. But
Yeah, and
you're looking
not
to
that he-
expand. You're looking to expand to OC and to LA, but
Yes.
not Ventura County.
But we want to clarify for listeners too, not only did you as Groundswell brought these kegs, but you personally carted these 3 5-gallon kegs up in your automobile with garbage cans full of ice, so we
Correct.
could be really just enjoy what's being offered and brewed down in San Diego. So we
Clean garbage cans.
yeah, clean garbage cans.
We don't ever put garbage in them. We only
No,
put
no.
beer and ice in them.
And let it be known that it was a hell of a way to do it, and a successful way to do it, because there was still, I don't know how much ice you put in, 60 pounds of ice in each one of those things.
Right.
There was still whatever it is, 40 pounds of ice in there.
Yeah.
I mean, these were in good shape, driving through the heat waves that we've been having from San Diego.
So
all the way
above
to
and beyond the
Ventura.
expectation and the effort, we appreciate the
Thank you.
long range you're doing with that.
The air conditioner was on full blast the whole time. Whether I was cold or not, it didn't matter.
Ah, yes. Well, the timer was there. I think that's a good enough place for us to kind of wrap up this session with Kevin Rhodes from Groundswell. You can find Groundswell Brewing Company on Facebook at Groundswell Brewing Company, on Instagram, Groundswell Brewing Company, on Twitter at Groundswell Brew. So whatever your social media philosophy is, you'll be able to find Groundswell.
Facebook as well. Groundswell Brewing Company.
Facebook, and then groundswellbrew.com. Did I say that? I ran through it. There it is.
It's in checklist.
So make sure that you go give him a visit, and then if you happen to be walking in there, say, hey, you heard us. You heard about.
And I hope
Groundswell
that's the
on
case, because again, I stumbled upon you guys. I was happy to do so, and I've been talking about this event for the last couple of weeks, trying to get people excited about a beer lineup that is not available within at least 100 miles at minimum from Ventura County. And when we get back in the next segment, we're going to start into the flight that's offered tonight at Barrelhouse 101 and talk about some of the locations in San Diego that are actually featuring your beer on tap. So
thank you.
Let's take a couple minute break.
Let's do it. We'll come back. Remind everyone to eat, drink, and be happy.
We'll see you at the next pour.
Cheers.
Okay, thanks.
Pints and Pairings is brought to you in part by the Beer Cave, located at 231 Village Commons Boulevard in Camarillo, California.
If you prefer a cocktail or some vino, this neighborhood market also has a great selection of premium spirits and wine, along with an attached deli for a quick sandwich to go.
When you stop in, be sure to mention that you heard about them right here on the Pints and Pairings Show, and maybe grab a sandwich for me on your way out.